you're like me, a few years ago, I used to watch the videos and get literature sent through the mail of people saying how easy it is to work from home and be your own boss. And they used to show pictures of people laying down by a pool or a beach, working on their laptop, as though that's what they're doing and that's what you should be aiming for. Well, I'm doing it now, but it's not the way they made it look. Well, here we are. This is a Tuesday afternoon in summer, and we're lucky here in Great Britain at the moment. We've got, what's the date? It's the 9th of July, and it's 12:54 in the afternoon, 5 to 1 in the afternoon. Now, this is what I love, knowing now that other people are out there working in an office or in a building somewhere, or being told what to do, and I'm actually sitting out here in my own garden. I've done a bit of work this morning, and I thought I'd just come out here. Me and Sharon's just had lunch out here, and I thought I'd get the sun lounger out, because it is absolutely roasting. It's 32, 33 degrees out here at the moment, so I thought I'd come out here for a quick little sun bathe. But this is what I wanted to achieve. It wasn't about being a businessman, it wasn't about being a guru, it's not about being someone who generates millions and millions of pounds like you're told that you can do. It's about enjoying the actual time you've got on this planet and using it for your own devices, rather than being a wage slave and giving away your day to somebody else when you should be at home enjoying yourself, doing the things that you want to do with yourself obviously and your family. But as far as that laying on the beach is concerned, who wants to lay on the beach with a laptop and actually do some work? I don't want to do that. I left my computers indoors. I don't like working on phones and things like that, iPads and stuff like that when I'm supposed to be relaxing. Who'd want to take that on holiday with me? So that's not the picture. This is the picture now. I've just finished a bit of work. We've had some lunch, and now I'm laying down because I decided I want to lay down for about 10 minutes. But we're going to go inside in a minute because I want to show you some stuff. I've got some transfer paper which I've never tried before. I'm going to give it a go. It's called Kiss Cut transfer paper. Now again, I don't know anything about it apart from that you don't need to have a cutter to cut out your images. So basically all you do is you print the images out on the transfer paper, your coloured images or whatever, and the whole sheet of Kiss Cut transfer paper you lay down on your garment and press it, and when you pull the sheet of paper off, everywhere where there's ink is supposed to be left onto the garment. So in other words, you don't need to weed out or cut out images at all with this paper. I don't know what I'm going to do a little test on it actually. I'm going to do a longevity test on it, but you're going to see it now. I'm going to do two types of pattern on it. I'm going to do one which is going to be bold colours, which is easy for the so-called paper to distinguish between, because it's going to be nice bold colours. And the other picture I'm going to use sort of a pastel type colour in the actual picture, and let's see if that actually releases along the pastel lines of the image. Oh come on, let's go and do it now, come on. Okay, it's a lot cooler in here. I've just come back inside. Sharon's just finishing off the last couple of t-shirts there, so let's go over to the computer and we'll take a look at the paper, and we'll also put a couple of designs on and we'll print them on a little test t-shirt. So let's go and do that now. Oh, that's a bit better, a bit cooler in here. Right, this was sent to me by one of my students actually, and it's an A4 size transfer paper. It's called Kiss Cut Self-Weeding Transfer. Now I'm not too sure what we're doing here. We're going to have to do a little test here because it's got 180 degrees for 7 seconds, hot pill, and then underneath it says 180 degrees C for 60 seconds. So I don't know whether that's a 7-second first or 60-second afterwards, so I'm not too sure. I'm going to have to try that out anyway. But there it is. It's called Kiss Cut paper. Just show you it. There we go. That's it there. It's got a pattern on the back, so you can't mistake that. And the white looks sort of semi-transparent, to be honest with you, but no doubt we'll see when we come to print on it. So what I'll do, I'll just pop a sheet of this into the printer, and then we'll find a picture just off of Google Images, 2 pictures actually, and we'll print one next to each other and see what happens. Right, so here we are on Google, and all I'm going to type in is Mickey Mouse into Google. Now again, I obviously don't use these drawings for selling purposes. This is just purely for a demonstration on how this Kiss Cut paper works. So I've typed in Mickey Mouse, and I'm just going to click on Images, and then I'm going to change the search tools at the top there, so I can change the size to large pictures. So all the ones here will be of a large type of format. So I'm just going to look for an image here of Mickey Mouse, and let's say for example this one here. One click on that, and then I'm going to view the original image, which is there. I'm now going to right click on it and save image as, and I'm going to call it Mouse, and save that onto my desktop. I was trying to look for a pastel image on a white background. Save me messing about. Okay, I've just found this box of like pastel coloured biscuits on a white background, and so all I'm going to do is right click on the image now and save image as. I'll leave it as what it's called there, and save that on our desktop as well. So basically all I've done there is download 2 images which have got a white background with 2 contrasting types of colours. One's vivid and the other one is obviously pastel-y colour like this. So I'll just shut that down now. Open up Photoshop and create a new page, which is going to be A4, which is the size of our transfer paper. I'm just going to rotate that canvas around 90 degrees so it's in the landscape plane. So that, to all intents and purposes, is our A4 sheet of paper. So I'm now going to go to File and Open and find them 2 pictures on the desktop. Right, so we've got both of our images now opened, and as you can see they're vastly different sizes to each other, but all we know is we want them both to appear on our A4 sheet of paper. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the first image, I'm going to use the Magic Wand tool, and then just click on the white part of the page. That sets the dotted lines around the whole of our image, but also around the outside box as well. So I'm just going to go to Select and Inverse, and that takes the marching ants around from the whole page and just keeps them on around our image. I'm then going to go to Edit Copy, go to our page which we want to put it on, and Edit Paste, and there's our image on our page. Now bearing in mind this is the actual A4 size paper we're going to be using, so I want to make that obviously the size I want. So I just click on the Move tool, and that puts the bounding box around our Mickey Mouse, and if I just hold the Control Shift key down, and then I can drag him up without actually skewing him to whatever size I want. So let's say that size, and then I'm just going to move him over onto the page like that, and then tick the arrow. Right, so Mickey Mouse is on their transfer paper. Now what I want to do is to go to our other image. In fact, I can close that big image of Mickey down now and click on our cake image. Again, this looks like a larger picture, and again I want the Magic Wand tool, click on the white of the page. That should put the dotted lines around the outside of the page and also around our image. We need to get the image just with the dotted lines around that and not the page, so the way we do that is we go to Select and Inverse, and that just takes that image dotted lines around there and keeps them around our bounding box. We then want to go to File or Edit Copy and just bring our other page up, where is it there, and Edit Paste it onto that page, and there's our other images there. So all I'm going to do now is just click on the Move tool at the top of the page, and I'm just going to, in fact you can do it with your keypad if you want, you just move them along to where you want it, to be. If I want to click on Mickey again to move him, the one I've got highlighted here is the cake picture, obviously, the biscuits. So if I want to do anything to Mickey, I've got to actually click on him and make that blue. And I can now slide Mickey along a bit further, look, as you can see on the screen. There we go. So there's both of our images on an A4 sheet of paper. And all I'm going to do now is print this out on our paper. So let's do that now. One thing to remember here as well is if I was doing any text or writing, technically speaking, you should really mirror the image when printing on white t-shirts. So I didn't actually do that because it didn't really matter because it was just an image. So again, all I'm using here is my standard inks, which I normally use for my other transfer paper. I'm not doing anything special whatsoever. This is purely printing out on my standard Epsom R1800 with a bulk ink setup. And I've done no cutting at all. I'm literally just printing out onto this Kiss Cut paper. Now, as you can see there, I don't know if you can see that properly. I know the colours might not be too good at the moment because my heads need a clean. But technically speaking, the ink, one thing I have noticed is straight away that the ink sits on the top of this paper quite wet. So I'm just going to let this actually dry off for a minute because I wouldn't like to put it straight onto any garment at this moment in time because, as I said, the ink is still wet at the moment. So I'm just going to put the heat press on now and we can have a look at that in a second. Right, I've just printed it out again. One little thing I've noticed here is that for some reason the ink is staying wet on the page and it's also leaving some sort of mark along the transfer paper. Now this isn't happening on my normal print, so, and also it's leaving sort of gaps insert. That might be my printer, I'm not too sure, but we've done loads of t-shirts this morning and we've had no problems at all with the printer, so it may be just a combination of this ink and my printer with this type of paper, I don't know. But it leaves it wet when it comes out of the printer, so you can't lay that straight onto a garment. So I've just put it under the actual heat press just to dry it off for a second. Now the only thing I'm not too sure of here, as I said, after the first 180 degrees for 7 seconds, it's then telling you to peel off and then press it for 60 seconds. Well, I'm not going to do that. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight for a 60-second blast and see what that does. So this time I'm not going to cut it apart, I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm just going to print it as it is onto the back of this test t-shirt and we'll just see what we've got there. So just lay that on there first, like that. Put the whole thing down over the t-shirt, let's say there. I'm going to put a Teflon sheet over it just to protect the actual t-shirt itself. And we're going to give this a 60-second blast. Under there we go. I've got quite high pressure here, I've got a number 8 pressure, so it should be hard enough. Okay, let's turn the heat press off. Lift her up. Get that out of the way. And it's a hot peel product. So we're going to peel that off straight away. Well, there you go. As you can probably see there, there's still some residue left on the actual paper itself of the transfer, and that I do not like whatsoever. I don't know if you can see that. It's left a sticky residue over the complete page, over the complete t-shirt, and there is no way on earth that I could sell that as a finished product. So for those of you who have the same sort of equipment as me and are looking for some sort of different type of transfer paper that is self-weeding, which I gather this is. Now again, I may be using the wrong temperature setting, I may be using the wrong time durations, I may be using the wrong inks for this type of transfer paper. This isn't to say that it's a no good product, this is just to say that with the products I use and the transfer papers I use, just by transferring to a totally different type of paper but still keeping the same products, it isn't working, and there's no way I could sell these type of products with the quality which this is producing. So every system's different. So once you choose your system, for example, like the ones I've got the decent heat press. I use a certain type of inks, and I use a certain type of transfer paper, and that all works in harmony with each other. So just changing because you've heard someone else say, oh, you want to try this paper, it may not work with the gear that you got, which is why it's so important. Once you've found someone who knows how to use a piece of kit with certain materials, it's best to follow one person's direction and do what they do to get the same results. There's so many people go to forums, for example, and they hear one person really bigging up a certain type of ink product or a transfer paper or heat press or any other piece of equipment in the game, and then thinking they'll extract the best out of each person's own experiences. You can find out that you can get results like that. Now, as I say, I'm an expert in the transfer printing business. This is transfer paper. It's a different technology transfer paper. It's self-weeding, but for what I use and what the equipment I've got, no good whatsoever. The results, there's no way I could ever sell this sort of product. So there you go. That's just my little test there. I don't know if it's any use to you or whether it's got any points to answer to if you've had a similar result with regards to using a different transfer paper. I've done all these tests in the past, and I've come to the conclusion with the papers I use, the inks I use, and the heat press and the equipment that I use and the craft cutter, it works A1 every time. And just experimenting for the sake of it, just for your benefit really, because there's no way on earth would I ever use this paper with the equipment I've got. But that doesn't mean to say that there are people who are possibly using this paper with different equipment and different inks and whatever, and probably getting good results. So there you go. Hope that was of some use to you. Thanks very much, and see you in the next vid.